O'Sullivan, I mean, we hold him to high standards. He holds himself to high standards. He's not had the best season, really. He's not won a tournament, which I guess for him is a surprise. Not actually been in a final. Best in a ranking event semis of the Xi'an Grand Prix in China. That was early season. So, of course, he's defending champion at the Masters next week, looking for a record-extending 9th title. He plays John Higgins on the opening afternoon, Sunday. I'm sure he's looking forward to a couple of days. Good match practice here against quite a few players who will be in that tournament, Chris Wakelin included. Of the 7 players in the group, 5 are in the Masters next week. Wakelin, of course, making his debut. He has beaten O'Sullivan at the English Open 2016.
Not a lot, really, for Chris to go at here. You can only see a couple of balls. Mistake already, but it's always difficult when you play Ronnie O'Sullivan. He can be very intimidating. Not so much perhaps in the first frame because you haven't seen what he's capable of, but when Ronnie starts knocking in big breaks against you, it can be very tough to play against. He'll be very relaxed here, no ranking points at stake, but it's a real good match sharpener for the Masters, which begins, of course, on Sunday.
I think it's a good sign if you're a Ronnie O'Sullivan fan that, you know, he's come here today. He doesn't have to come, but he's trying to tune up. That's not gone as planned, though, that first shot.
And Ronnie, like all the other players in this group, will be taking this very seriously, because I can promise you that if you don't take something seriously and you just play in a rather haphazard fashion, you can easily develop little faults in your technique.
Yeah, and he has to, doesn't he? Because look at the other players in this group. You know, you don't want to... You want always looking for an edge, and you don't want to give any of your rivals an opportunity to get one over on you, because it could, down the line, give them confidence next time they play you. You know, if they completely outplay you, even in a small event. Yeah, got there. Plays 4 matches today. Got to Karen Wilson after this one. Mark Selby later. Jack Jones last on. And Wakelin, of course, has played a lot of matches already, to say the least, in this event. So 4 good solid days for him. Finished 5th in Group 1 and was semi-final loser last night in Group 2.
One.
Super red from Chris, but unfortunately he's played the cue ball so tightly to the baulk cushion, I don't think this pink will cut in. He's had a look at it. If it does cut in, it's exceptionally thin, but I think he's decided against it.
Chris Wakelin, 1.
Yeah, playing John Higgins on Sunday. That's 30 years on from when he beat John in the final to win the Masters for the first time, 95, when they were both just 19.
That's a mistake from Chris Wakelin. He'd be disappointed that red's found the jaws of the corner. Once again, though, Ronnie's been unfortunate. That was a disastrous kiss from cue ball to red. Not where the cue ball's finished. Now, can he roll up to a colour, or will he just screw back to the baulk cushion? No attempt at the yellow.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Early days,
1.
of course, but just look at the way the reds are positioned around the table now, so one mistake could be very costly.
Yeah, 2 reds he's potted and both times didn't land on a colour.
Good for us as commentators as well, Dave, isn't it? Just to, it's a bit of a marker, isn't it, to see what sort of form some of these top players are in ahead of the Masters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with Wakelin, what's been interesting is how he's improved as the 4 days have gone on, as he misses that one. I mean, the first 2 matches he played in Group 1, you know, he looked very rusty, but just the fact he managed to stay in that group, played a lot better in the last group, albeit Sejowie beat him 3-2 in the semis, but just looks sharper, and maybe he'll get sharper and sharper leading into next week. That was a chance. So Sullivan's been out in Asia doing exhibitions over the Christmas period in Macau and China, so he's only just got back. He has been playing, but it's not the same as matches, is it, that are meaningful?
Well, played it in a confident fashion. The drag shot for the black to opposite corner was a positive shot to play, but it's gone wrong and it could be very costly now. The reason I say that is that because there are reds all over the place, even if you're not on your intended next red, chances are you'll be on another. The one that's closest to the black should be Ronnie's next intended red, because that would open up the black spot area, and he'd love to get that yellow back on its spot. Players tend to hate it when the bulk colours are down this end of the table. But he is a little short of pace there, Ronnie. Keeper will be cannoning other balls here.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 7.
Yeah, and you can see he's a bit disappointed, but this is where Wakelin has got to recognise that there's an early opportunity here, and these matches are short, of course. O'Sullivan is a little rusty early on. He has to try and take advantage.
1.
Someone who's not rusty is Ali Carter. He's already 2-0 to the good against Jack Jones, having beaten Milkins 3-0 earlier.
Three. 4.
Considering where these pockets are, they're a little bit forgiving, more so than the star tables. I'll be playing for the red along the cushion here. Chris has decided to stun out for one of the reds above the black spot. This is a great chance for him, and he needs to take it as well, just to put pressure on Ronnie O'Sullivan. Whenever you're playing the top players, if you don't put them under pressure, they can walk all over you. Of course, we tend to forget that Chris Wakelin is a top player himself. Certainly justified being a top player with the performances this season.
19.
believes that he can beat anybody, and he's proved it.
Yes, there's no reason to be overawed. I guess maybe even sort of 2 or 3 years ago it would be more of a case to be, but he's a top player himself, and everyone knows that. Everyone's
33. $34.
Played that with a lot of top and left-hand side on the cue ball, which can
41.
just push the cue ball off its true course a little, that side spin, and it nearly caused the error.
$42.
Oh, if he plays to the red near the centre pocket, be a certainty to win this frame. That's what he's done. It's a couple more pots away now from winning this opening frame.
$50.
Yeah, I think it's important that he took this chance. O'Sullivan had a couple, but you could see he was annoyed when he missed when he was in there, and that's where you have to pick up the signs.
55.
It's a game played on the table, but it's also a game played between the ears, psychological as well. You have to show an opponent that you're going to punish if a mistake comes. And that's what he's done here. That was frame ball.
56.
We saw 2 century breaks from the cue of Mark Selby in the first match.
63.
Enough on here for Chris Wakelin to make one of his own. Oh, it's just gone wrong.
You had to say that, didn't you? But anyway, he's won the frame with a solid break. He leads Ronnie O'Sullivan 1-0. If you're tuning in, maybe as a Ronnie fan who hasn't sort of been following the Championship League, this is Group 3. There's 7 groups. The winner of each goes through to final winners group, first week of February. And the winner of that gets in the Championship League. And it is a league. They each play each other. Top 4 in the table contest the playoffs tomorrow night to find that group winner, 2 semis and a final. Oh, that little knuckle. He's left this red cuttable. I think it would have been anyway.
One.
Not sure Chris intended to go around the houses to come down the table for a red again, but I don't think it's finished too badly.
8. $9.
The previous frame, Dave spoke about the sort of season that Ronnie O'Sullivan has had. He's still 18th on the seasonal points, but that's low for him. Chris Wakelin, though, is 10th on the season points so far, so he's having a better season for Ronnie O'Sullivan by a long way.
Well, at least he's not left
Wakelin,
O'Sullivan in missing that. The thing is, though, we do hold different players to different standards. You know, if Ronnie's not winning tournaments, then it's seen as not being successful. It's not as easy as just turning up and winning, clearly. But the fact is he hasn't won a title since Riyadh last season, the invitation event. Last final, the Tour Championship at the end of last season, just before the Crucible, where Mark Williams beat him.
Very awkward now to play the cue ball into bulk because of the two potentially possible reds to either centre pocket. Wakelin was fortunate there. That red would have been very possible. That cue ball not finished in front of the yellow the way it did. That's a decent reply from Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's a good safety from where he was. That's better than that. It's a great safety.
Touching ball. One.
Disappointed Chris Wakelin to have left that red to the left centre. Again, positional error from Ronnie. He's not happy. Green is covering the only possible red to the left corner, so he can chip another red into the same left corner, the one that's just detached from the main bunch. Oh, Ronnie thought that red would pass as well, but it didn't.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Very indifferent start. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
To be honest, he's looked like a lot of players coming into this event rusty. What I'll say Wakelin did in Group 1. Benefit he's got is this is the 5th day he's played. Although Mark Selby didn't look very rusty, did he? He made 2 centuries against Kyron Wilson.
And ever since Ronnie walked out to play this match, he's been looking at his tip as though there's something that he's not happy with.
Was a clear opportunity for Wakelin here, he must recognise that. Sullivan yet to really get going.
5. Six.
Good strike of the cue ball there. Even a shot like that will give Chris Wakelin confidence, because he could not have struck that any better. Just having a look to see if he can pot the pink and run through into the pack of reds to develop a few. Problem is with a shot like this, the more pace that you play it with, the wider the cue ball will go from the pink, and he may just clip the reds rather than run into them, and that's what's happened. He's on nothing.
Twelve.
Trying the double.
Chris Wakelin, 12.
You can already see though, as Sullivan, you know, he's playing properly, he's businesslike, he's here for proper practice first and foremost, and don't get that sort of whacking the balls about, so he's playing the proper safety, being patient. Wakelin caught that a little thick, but no real damage done.
Chris just having a look, see if he can get through to the red below the black to take it on, but he can't quite get through there. Well, this will displease him. How on earth has he left the red so close to the corner pocket? But that cannon on the yellow has come to his aid.
One.
Well, although the cannon on the yellow prohibited from Ronnie O'Sullivan playing the easier pot to the left corner, he knocked a very good one in anyway to the right corner. So good opportunity now for Ronnie. Black is accessible, but you'll need an angle soon on the colour to go into the reds.
Six. Seven.
Well, that was exactly as played. It will mean something to Ronnie to score well from here, because he's
14.
done very little in the match so far.
15.
1,279 centuries suggests that he'll be scoring at some point. Well, he's left himself a pot, but he's sort of missed a few from distance already. Not that
23.
one though. No, that'll make him feel better.
Can't see any way though that he can get into the reds, so if he wants to continue the break, I think the only way he can do is by playing the difficult red near the right side cushion.
$26. 27.
Surely that red directly above the black at the bottom of that little group doesn't pot to the right corner, does it? No.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 27.
That's not the worst kiss in the world. Can Chris see these reds? The problem is, though, he'll be bringing them into play. He needs to be careful something doesn't find its way near a pocket.
Well, it's well and truly opened the frame up, but he has left a potential long red here. Not close. It's kind of an interesting dynamic. I think O'Sullivan is trying to find something here. You know, first match of the new year. And I think Wakelin, because he's seeing O'Sullivan not at his best yet, he's sort of maybe a bit anxious to think, right, I've really got to take advantage. So it's kind of an interesting feel to the match, I think.
There's a chance of a double here. It's as easy a double as you'll ever see. It's still gone awry. A great chance now for Chris Wakelin. Albeit that black is a little awkward, and although I think he'll be playing for it, he'll need some attention.
One.
Yeah, I think these pockets, you know, played on the generous side from what we've seen. So you certainly fancy him to get this. The double, I mean, the man O'Sullivan's playing the Masters, John Higgins, he doesn't seem to miss doubles, John.
8.
That clearance he made against Mark Allen, it started with a double. Crucible.
9.
I like Chris's
16.
tempo as well. He's just playing at his normal speed and rhythm. Just when you have a long career
17.
as a sports person, not just a snooker player, body language is something that you're always picking up on. You can always tell when your opponent isn't feeling at their best or giving you too much respect.
24.
Yeah, you can't afford to lie down or have too much respect, as you say. You're there to do a job yourself.
25.
And that's the thing about snooker, you know, if you play Novak Djokovic at tennis, he's hitting the ball back across the net, arguably the greatest ever. In snooker, the greatest ever is in his seat now. He can't affect what's happening in this frame other than just his sheer presence. I think it is different when there's an audience. Obviously, they tend to support him. But Wakelin,
31.
golden chance to make it 2-0.
32.
Just this yellow required then to extend his lead to 2-0.
38.
It's only a best of 5. He's within a frame of victory, but a lot of the players, Ronnie especially, can reel off 3 frames in no time at all. Chris Wakelin will certainly be aware of that.
40.
Well, he's had chances, O'Sullivan, but it's all been bits and pieces from him. And that green removes any doubt. So great start for Wakelin. Just to say, by the way, an even better start for Ali Carter. He's beaten Jack Jones 3-0 off the back of the 3-0 win over Milkins. So perfect start for the captain, who, as I say, only just survived yesterday. Ryan Day had a great chance to beat him. Didn't happen. And the ranking event winner is going well in the invitation version of the Championship League.
52.
Another half century for Wakelin. Yeah, 58 to the pink. Chris Wakelin leads Ronnie O'Sullivan here in Leicester by 2 frames to 0. On the other table, it's still 1-0 to Robert Milkins over Mark Selby. That's actually the last match of the session. On this table, O'Sullivan will stay on to play the world champion Karen Wilson. Found the gap through the reds with the cue ball. Just wanted to avoid the green though. Get the white to the cushion.
One.
Well, that's a terrific pot. It made a difference, O'Sullivan catching the green. Left that potable, but it was still not only a great pot, but control for position on black as well.
Eight.
So let's see how far he gets this time, because of course he had the first chance in frame 4.
9. $16. $17. $23.
Well, the pink going up on the green spot changes things a little. Because the black isn't available into the left corner, Chris is having to do a little bit more work now to keep this break going. $29. Mistaken, the black must pot into the left corner. It's a little surprised then that previously he screwed up for the blue, but this is absolutely perfect. So in potting the black, if Chris can cannon the red directly above it, he should be on the red. It's just to the left of the black as we look. That will do very nicely. He can't hold for the black from this red, but just shoved a couple into open play, and he can easily stun up for the blue.
37. $38.
Well, it's shaping up to be
43.
a real frame-winning chance, match-winning chance. To say O'Sullivan's safety actually was pretty effective. He just caught that green, which did leave the chance at the long red, but it was still a great pot, not just to pop the red, but hold for the black as well.
Was a much more difficult pot than it may have seemed. He had to play it with a lot of topspin and right-hand side on the cue ball.
$60.
This has been an excellent break, and he needs 2 more pots to make it into a match-winning one. So O'Sullivan put the pressure on, made that 1-8 in frame 4. It's coming back at him, but Chris Wakelin, and this is the new Chris Wakelin, isn't it? This is what he does now. He responds.
67.
This red for victory. Very impressive, that. Just needed 1 chance. That'll make him feel good. Any win over Ronnie O'Sullivan is worth celebrating, but the manner in which he won it, having lost his 2-frame lead, to take it out in 1 visit, very impressive.
$73. $74.
Only remains to be seen whether Wakelin can make a century of his own. Still
81.
plenty on, isn't there? 59 still available, so a possible 140. That would be an excellent target for the high break.
82.
He's looked very cool taking these as Chris Wakelin.
Yes, he could derive a lot of confidence from a win such as this. He was tested by Ronnie O'Sullivan, came back to him strongly.
90. $97.
Well, what a way to win it. Chris Wakelin with a century break of his own. It's his 3rd of the Championship League this year, his 17th of the season, and a very satisfying one. Just needed 1 chance, and as I say, O'Sullivan didn't do much wrong really.
106.
He's aware of the high break price, I'm sure, Chris. He's played enough of Championship League to know about it, so he's just left this a bit awkward, this black. He knows he can post a big target here. The black stays out, but the win's the most important thing. A break of 106 to take the decider against Ronnie O'Sullivan and to take the point from this match. So Chris Wakelin beats Ronnie O'Sullivan 3-2.